Many people want to move from a negative state to a positive one. They search for happiness and fulfillment, believing that once they achieve certain things, money, relationships, success, they will finally feel at peace. But life doesn't work that way. More often than not, people are misled by the illusion of Maya, the deceptive nature of reality. They experience moments of joy, but those moments never last. Eventually, they find themselves back in loneliness, disappointment, or despair. They keep searching, convinced that the next goal, the next relationship, or the next big achievement will bring lasting happiness. But instead, they fall into a cycle, temporary highs followed by inevitable lows. And at some point, they begin to wonder, is this all there is? Happiness is something everyone wants. It drives almost everything we do. People chase it in relationships, careers, material wealth, or experiences. But the truth is, happiness based on external things never lasts. No matter what you achieve, life is always changing. What once made you happy can disappear, leaving you wanting more. Real happiness isn't found in things that come and go. It's something deeper, something already within you. We tend to believe the world is exactly as we see it, but that's not true. Our minds shape our experience, filtering reality through beliefs, fears, and past experiences. This is what Maya does. It tricks us into thinking that external things will complete us. But the moment we get what we want, something else comes up. The cycle never ends because we're looking in the wrong place. Pleasure and pain are connected. You can't have one without the other. The moment you seek pleasure, you also invite suffering. Why? Because all experiences are temporary. A high will always be followed by a low. If we keep chasing pleasure, we will also experience its opposite. The only way to break free is to stop depending on external things for happiness. One of the biggest sources of suffering is the belief that we are separate from others, from life, from something greater. This belief creates loneliness, insecurity, and fear. People often look for love to fill this emptiness, but when love is based on need, it never truly satisfies. It leads to attachment, control, and disappointment. Real love isn't about filling a void. It's about recognizing that deep down, you were never incomplete to begin with. At some point, people start to realize that nothing external brings lasting happiness. When this happens, they may begin to question the purpose of life. If money, success, or relationships don't lead to true fulfillment, what does? This is where real transformation begins, when someone stops looking outward and starts looking inward. But unfortunately, initially, most of us go through life assuming we are just our thoughts, emotions, or personal identity. But what if we aren't? The core dilemma in life is living under a false identity. The moment we question, who am I really? We begin to see through the illusion. We realize that the self we've been trying so hard to improve or protect isn't who we truly are. Many assume that having good karma, meaning a life of comfort, success, and ease, is a blessing. But in reality, it can be a trap. When life is going smoothly, there's little motivation to question anything deeper. People in fortunate circumstances may feel no urgency to explore spirituality, thinking, why should I bother? That's for people who are suffering. But this mindset is misleading because it ignores one fundamental truth. Everything changes. Nothing in life stays the same, and no matter how good things seem now, time moves forward, and everything is constantly shifting. What feels stable today could be gone tomorrow. Believing that happiness and success will last forever is an illusion. That's why it's dangerous to become too comfortable and forget about deeper truths. When life revolves only around material success, money, status, personal achievements, it can feel fulfilling on the surface. But without spiritual awareness, it's like being in a dream. You think you're awake, but you're actually lost in Maya, caught in an illusion that keeps you from seeing reality clearly. No matter how long or successful a life may seem, if it lacks deeper understanding, it remains limited. True freedom comes not from wealth or status, but from realizing the bigger picture, who you really are beyond this temporary identity. You can't have one side of life without the other. If you only know success, at some point, you will experience failure. If you chase happiness, you will eventually encounter sorrow. That's just how the world works. It's built on opposites. Trying to hold on to only one side of the equation leads to suffering because sooner or later, the other side will appear. And here is a simple truth: anything that can be taken away is not truly yours. If your happiness depends on things that can disappear, then that happiness is fragile and temporary. Real fulfillment doesn't come from accumulating wealth, power, or recognition. It comes from understanding your true nature. This means shifting from an external focus, achievements, possessions, status, to an internal one. Instead of chasing things outside yourself, you turn inward and begin to ask the deeper questions. Who am I beyond my thoughts, beyond my identity, beyond this temporary life? It's in this exploration that real peace is found, beyond Maya, beyond illusion, and beyond the endless cycle of highs and lows. Because life shifts gradually, it's easy to get lost in the moment and forget the bigger picture. When things are going well, we assume they'll stay that way. When things are bad, we feel like they'll never end. But life isn't static. It's always shifting, whether we realize it or not. That's why it's important not to base our entire sense of happiness on temporary situations. The desire for wealth, recognition, or happiness is something we've been taught since childhood. These things may provide temporary comfort, but they don't create deep, lasting peace. Real happiness isn't found in external achievements. It comes from within. But the more we chase these things, the more we suffer. The real path to freedom is letting go, not in a way that means giving up, but in a way that means freeing yourself from the need to control everything. True fulfillment comes when we stop looking for happiness in temporary things and start looking inward. This doesn't mean we should reject life or stop enjoying things. It just means we don't depend on them for our sense of self-worth. By questioning who we really are beyond our successes and failures, we can find a deeper sense of peace, one that doesn't come and go with the ups and downs of life. One of the biggest reasons people keep reincarnating is their belief that the world is real and separate from them. This belief keeps them stuck in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, constantly chasing happiness and self-improvement without realizing they're running in circles. We tend to think the world exists independently of us, but according to spiritual teachings, it's just a reflection of our own consciousness. If we believe it's real and permanent, we stay attached to it, and that attachment keeps us coming back again and again. The more we cling to our sense of self and the material world, the more we get pulled back into life after life. It's like being stuck on a treadmill, repeating the same lessons in different forms. People often wonder why they keep facing the same struggles: relationships, money, health. But that's exactly how the cycle works. A lot of people spend their lives trying to fix themselves, getting in shape, making more money, achieving spiritual goals. But this constant striving is actually a sign of dissatisfaction with the present moment. The belief that I need to be better reinforces the idea of a separate, incomplete self, which is what keeps the cycle going. The more you chase something, whether it's success, happiness, or enlightenment, the more elusive it becomes. If you're searching for peace through external means, you'll never find it, because the very act of searching keeps you stuck. The idea that you're a separate, incomplete person in need of improvement is an illusion. It's just a collection of thoughts and emotions that come and go. When you really look for this defective version of yourself, you won't find it. Where is this person? Other than some passing thoughts, emotions, or bodily sensations, what is present? Instead of trying to improve yourself, question whether the self you think you are even exists in the first place. Spiritual teachers emphasize self-inquiry, looking inward to see who or what you really are. You can prompt self-inquiry by simply asking, who is thinking these thoughts? The answer comes automatically, I am. Then you continue to ask, who is this I, and you keep still. You can repeat this as many times as you like. The moment you recognize that the separate you is just a mental construct, the struggle ends. Then you will see that all the struggles are for the entity called me that was created by thought. The irony is you don't need to become enlightened or reach some higher state. You're already whole. The belief that you need something outside yourself to be happy is the only thing standing in your way. At some point, people start to see that no matter how much they achieve, they're always caught in this cycle. This exhaustion with the game of life is what leads people to look for something deeper. But one major trap on the path to awakening is thinking you're somehow better or more enlightened than others. So watch out for the ego that likes to come back through the back door. Also, many people think they need to try to be loving or compassionate, but real love isn't forced. It's a natural expression of our true self. When we stop identifying with the ego and let go of fears and desires, kindness and compassion arise effortlessly. You don't need to do something to help others, but the most powerful thing you can do is simply be. When you embody peace and awareness, it naturally influences those around you. Spiritual traditions suggest that what we see as reality is actually a projection of the mind. This doesn't mean the world is bad, just that it's not the ultimate truth. When we stop taking it so seriously, we gain freedom from its endless ups and downs. Most of us have been taught that failure is something to avoid, but spiritual teachings suggest that what looks like failure might actually be a necessary step toward true self-realization. When things go wrong, we're forced to stop and reflect. Struggles and setbacks make us more aware of our unconscious habits and beliefs. This moment of awareness is crucial. It's the first step toward real clarity and growth. On a deeper level, failure doesn't exist. Every experience, whether we label it as success or failure, is part of the journey toward self-understanding. Even the mistakes we make are just lessons leading us forward. Instead of seeing mistakes as problems, we can view them as opportunities to learn. Spiritual teachings suggest that life will keep repeating the same lessons until we fully understand them. A failed experiment is just as valuable as a successful one. Society often equates success with money, status, or power, but plenty of people have all those things and still feel empty. True success isn't about external achievements, it's about finding inner peace and realizing who you really are. Everything in life is temporary. Money, status, health, relationships, these things can come and go. If we define ourselves by our successes, we'll eventually suffer when they fade. The same goes for failure. What seems like a disaster today might turn out to be a blessing tomorrow. Real success isn't about what happens on the outside, it's about discovering who you are beyond the labels of success and failure. When you stop chasing external validation, you begin to see that you are not what you appear to be. You are something much deeper. A big part of spiritual awakening is realizing that the personal self, the I that wants success and fears failure, is just a mental construct. A key step in spiritual growth is learning not to react emotionally to every success or failure. When we step back and simply observe life, instead of getting caught up in it, we break the cycle of suffering. If you've ever felt like you failed in life, it might actually be a hidden blessing. That failure could be the push you need to stop chasing external success and start questioning what really matters. The ultimate success isn't about achieving something, it's about waking up to the truth of who you are. And that truth has nothing to do with winning or losing.